Good evening. For today's mechanism description presentation, I'd like to share the OptoForce force torque sensor kit for universal robots. Maybe before I get into the function and the physical characteristics, the parts, and also the operation of this mechanism, I'll give you just a quick little background of the universal robot that it mounts to. The universal robot is a collaborative robot, and it is used in industry out on the production floor, and it works side by side with human beings, unguarded, because of the safety, the built-in safety of being able to sense force and torque. When this robot would bump into something, the feedback that goes back to the controller is a force and a torque feedback, and if it exceeds the rating for safety, it will disable itself. So this OptoForce force torque sensor kit, it capitalizes on the safety of the collaborative robot, the UR robot. It uses the very same software that the universal robot uses for safety. So the function of this robot sensor is to sense force and torque for operations in industry, such as welding, in the painting industry. It's used for polishing. And so it needs to be able to sense very, very light touch for polishing procedures in the painting industry. In the medical industry, it's used for capping pharmaceuticals. So it has to use very, very sensitive touch to turn the caps of the pharmaceuticals. In the plastic industry, which I am in, we use these collaborative robots to layer pack and to remove parting lines on plastic parts. And one thing that the OptoForce force torque sensor is used for in the plastic industry is for assembly procedures. So to assemble a little screw into a plastic part, you can't use extreme torque. So this little sensor works very well. One of the physical characteristics, and I'll show you a visual of what this OptoForce force torque sensor looks like. It's about 3 inches across, 1/2 inch in depth. It has this little 5-pin communication cable, weighs about 1.5 pounds, and it's made of polished aluminum. The parts of this OptoForce force torque sensor is the outer plate for mounting and end-of-arm tooling. It has a housing all the way around that houses the very intricate electronic components on the inside, the sensing technology, which is made up of one LED light, 4 sensing elements called photodiodes, and a sensing layer and a reflective surface. And I can show you another visual of that very intricate electronic component. So the way this operates is when force is pushed on this sensor, the very outer perimeter of this sensor is a very soft material, and when pressure is put on it, force, it distorts that material, and the photodiode, it sends a light up to the reflective layer, and then it bounces off onto these photodiodes. So it can tell which way the force is being pushed on this robot. The light then that is reflected onto these photodiodes, it sends a signal, a 4 to 20 milliamp signal back to the controller, and that is then converted into a 0 to 200 Newton signal that is read by the controller into of course, the newtons, which is somewhere around 0 to 45 pounds in the force direction. In the torque direction, the turning, the force, of course, is in the pressure, and then the torque is a turning of the robot end of arm, and that is a 0 to 2.5 pounds. So it's a very sensitive mechanism, very intricate electronics. This, in conclusion, is the OptoForce force torque sensor is used on a daily basis in a wide variety of technical production equipment. Very precise measurements of force and torque, and it has been awarded the Universal Robot Certificate, proving that it is a very, very top-of-the-line piece of equipment in the automation industry. And you can read that in the Robot Report, August 17, 2017 edition. Lisa Eitel is the one that wrote that up about the Universal Robot Certificate. So it's a mechanism that has gained some great recognition in the production industry. Thank you.